Welcome to the T ROWE podcast, your ultimate destination for mastering the world of real estate and mortgage with an unwavering and huge emphasis on maintaining the right mindset. You know, in this ever-evolving landscape of real estate and mortgage, success absolutely requires more than just industry knowledge. It absolutely demands resilient and positive mindset. I'm anxious to share with you my experiences, storytelling, special guests. Let's get started. Focused on thinking, retaining, obtaining, and winning every single day. That's what T ROWE stands for. Hold on tight. Here we go. And we have another fantastic guest here today. And this is going to be great for everybody because she is new to me. So welcome to the studio, Miss Jordan Treveri. How are you, Jordan?
Good. Thank you.
I had to give you a little special sound effect there.
I appreciate it.
So, I've only spoken with you, Jordan, a handful of times,
I don't even think a handful of times.
Yeah, maybe, depending on how big the hand was. I think.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of history. So, you and I worked with Select Group, Real Estate, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, and of course, I was running Stanford Mortgage. And you no sooner really started to come on board with the company. And, of course, as everyone knows, I left.
Yes.
Right.
The email went into abyss.
Yeah. And so the last time I saw you was, it's been a week or so, and you were getting pictures taken with Santa Claus.
I was.
It was pretty exciting.
Yes,
right?
whispering into Santa's ear of what I wanted and everything. Yeah.
Hopefully that works out. Even though I don't know. I don't know what you're whispering into his ear. And I know Santa intimately, as you know.
Yes.
Well, listen, Jordan, number one, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can't not say it, but it's so awesome because you actually beat Jody Martinez here. She has yet to show up.
Yes, she has yet to show up.
Now, she's worked for the company for years.
Yeah. Over 10 years, right?
Over 10 years,
yeah.
For sure. And how long have you been here?
3 months almost.
3 months, yeah. And here you are in the sales studio already. Jody, I hope you're listening.
Oh, she will be. Trust me. On the way there, she's like, "You're beating me to it." I'm like, "Hey, I got to get stuff done, man."
Well, Jordan, number one, I think it's awesome that you're with the Select Group. And I definitely want to talk about that a little bit. But
definitely.
First, I want to set the stage because you have like a long list resume here as to what it is you do. So I'm going to try and cover this. Okay, so first and foremost, you're a realtor with some specialty in luxury real estate, yes?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you're a host of a TV show, American Dream TV. Mm-hmm. I think it's the American Dream TV.
Yep. The American Dream TV network selling Sacramento, not showing Sacramento, selling Sacramento.
Selling Sacramento, that's awesome. And then you're now, and I don't know if this is the first time for this role, but now you are the director of marketing or marketing manager. How do we say that? Marketing
manager for now, and then possibly in the future, kind of, who knows, going up and transitioning, who knows. But yes, for right now, marketing manager. And
yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so I have to ask, with real estate and the American Dream TV show, how in the world do you end up in this role? Adding, like, you didn't have enough to do, I guess.
Right. So, right. Like I tell everybody and remind Jim all the time, I'm single, no kids. So if I wasn't, I'd be divorced.
Yeah. Okay. So being that you say that, do you want me to put your phone number up at the bottom of the screen? Like, reach out? No.
Yeah. You know what? Tag my Instagram handle. It's fine. Slide into those DMs.
So next time we talk, you'll have those 3 roles plus be in a relationship if all goes well. Or maybe not. Maybe that wouldn't be a good thing. Anyway, talk to me about how is it going? How in the world do you work the balance? What's the work-life balance, if there is such a thing there?
Yeah, it's definitely, like I kind of say, I'm getting my sea legs under me. There's so much that I want to be able to do and implement, but it's also still learning, right? Because I'm coming in as an agent, but also as a marketing manager. So I'm having to learn everything on the agent side, the systems and everything we can do, but I'm also having to learn and figure out how we can market and implement everything that I'm learning how to do, because it's a whole new brand.
Sure.
And, it's not my first time working for a big company, but I did work for a big company previously and then moved to a boutique. And then now I'm obviously back in kind of like the corporate area, the corporate realm of things. So it's trying to kind of wrap my head around everything that we can do and learning 2 brands, right?
Right.
Because it's C21 and also CB.
That's right.
So, yeah, so it's definitely drinking out of a fire hose at the moment. But like I tell everybody, there's just so much that both brands offer. And when the opportunity presented itself,
Yeah.
I, like I said, I kind of like a challenge, and I talked to Jim. I like to get in nitty gritty and
Yeah.
figure things out and see what we can make of it. So
Yeah, well, I will tell you again, that I recently made a change. In fact, I'm now 1 month at my new job at Figure Lending. And I think my response would be the same as yours. Like, I saw it as a real challenge. It's completely new and different for me, and adoption of a lot of technology. But at the end of the day, it's still sales is sales is sales, which really comes down to relationships, right?
Oh, 100%.
And so here you are now, and I don't know how many real estate agents between the two brands at Select Group. Any idea roughly what that count is?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't even know. We're over, well,
I want to say, is it 1,100 agents now, or maybe more?
oh no, I was going to say, I think we're at like 1,600 or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Or something around that the last time that I was talking to marketing, when I asked them, like, how many agents do we actually have?
Yeah.
But I think we're around that number. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's still
I
a
need
lot.
to find that out. Don't fire me yet. Let me find that out.
A lot. Well, here's the thing. I mean, that it's, talk about overwhelming. I mean, how do you put
and we're
yourself in
constantly
front of them?
trying to grow, right? We're
Right.
trying to bring on new companies and new divisions, and they want to talk about expansion and putting more offices in more locations. So
Yeah, so you mentioned how much the brands do, right? C21 and Caldwell Banker, and that's certainly true. But I'll do a little plug here in regards to specifically the Select Group,
yeah.
because the amount of tools that they're providing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's changed in my short absence. I think.
No, we think we offer another additional program or two that we're trying to implement. But
Right. Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second, and we'll not only the real estate, but maybe even the marketing side.
Yeah.
So I know firsthand some of the technology and the tools and the stuff that's available. It's all awesome. However, the biggest task is the adoption of it.
yes.
So are you finding any one way that works better for the sales teams or different than another?
Yeah, so that's the struggle, right? Because through all 10 years of me being in real estate, I've seen CRMs, I've seen systems come and go, and I've seen agents, even the top of the top agents invest thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars by the next shiny CRM that's going to bring their business to the next level.
Right.
But they never actually adopt it, and they never actually use it. And so has always been a struggle with getting agents to use their own CRMs or own systems.
Right.
And coming to, Select Group and having to be able to actually, now we're going to be creating our own.
Oh, the CRM.
Yes.
Sure.
So we're creating our own. Marketing is going about that right now.
Wow.
But it's my goal to be able to reach the agents and reach the managers on more of a personal level, to be going to the offices and helping agents implement and educating them on the tools that we have, and actually walking them through saying, hey, let's get this set up, let's get this regular, let's get this kind of, automatic, and get it part of your daily business.
Right.
Because it's really important, and that's how you really, level up.
It's so important, and I love that phrase, level up. I think that's so encompassing. It just says it all, right? Yeah. And what's interesting, and I face, by the way, even in my new role, I face this very same challenge with adoption to technology. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is I think a lot of us in the business, maybe not so much you, because you're still pretty young, but a lot of us,
you.
a lot of us have been doing this a long time. And what I've run into is, dare I say, old dog, new tricks challenge.
Oh, 100%.
But it is so tough because the industry and the way we do business has changed. And what I find so interesting about this is, of course, I showed you some different AI things, right? We're just talking about it. And there's a lot of people say, oh, no, I will never do AI. AI is going to replace the real estate agent. Well, I take a different approach. I take the approach that technology, and if we pick on AI here for a second, all that really does is allow agents to actually have more time to help more people. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense?
100%.
It's not that their job's going away. It's the way they go about doing their job. And when they adopt the technology, they can help more people. And I say, all the time. Let's just get to the net of what it is we all do. We're in the business of helping people. And if we can agree to that, well, then our challenge is, how do we put ourselves in front of more people to help?
Well, that makes me, think about the story that when I was sitting with Dan and Jim, the first meeting when I got hired, Dan went on to tell me the story that, as an example, right? So you have going into surgery. I don't know, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but you're going into surgery and you have your choice between two doctors, right? One who is extremely experienced, has done hundreds of thousands of surgeries, and then you have the other one who is a brand new surgeon, however, has adopted all of the newest, latest, greatest tips and tricks and, all of the technology of that. Who are you going to want to be able to do your surgery, right?
Right.
Well, you're going to really want the older, more experienced doctor who has gone back to school or is adopting the new technology, right?
That's such a great analogy.
Because really you can't replace experience.
Right.
So if you adopt it and come alongside it and use it for your benefit and figure out how you can incorporate parts of it into your business, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
I love that analogy, and of course, we'll give Dan credit for that. And by the way, what a great storyteller Dan always is.
Always
right?
is.
In fact, I'm sitting here scratching my head going, how is it possible that in my 13 years, I haven't heard that story? I mean, because, he tends to repeat them. They're on rinse and repeat, right? Which is not a bad thing. Oh, that is funny. Okay, so.
Well, now you know. Got to have them in more often.
So let's separate the agents here for a second. I've been in the business. I'm a real estate agent for 20 years. And by the way, the good news is Select Group as a whole has a lot of those that have been realtors a long time. In fact, I love it when Dan kind of jokes around about that and pokes fun at himself, how long he's been in the real estate industry and how many cycles up and down he's gone through. By the way, talk about experience. That leads to a great result because you don't panic when the market cycles.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I've always appreciated about guys like that is it's like, I've lived through 4 of these already. I don't.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that was one of the reasons why I really decided to jump ship and take the leap and join Select Group from where I was. It wasn't an easy decision, but the fact of the conversations that I had with him during kind of the recruiting and interviewing process, knowing how long he's been around, how knowledgeable he is, the following of agents and the loyalty of the agents that have been there for so long through the ups and downs of everything. And he's been able to succeed through that. Jumping into something like this, I felt like I could really trust and be committed to the brand because like I say with, C21, you have that legacy brand, right? And it's still around. And if it's still around to this day, that's saying something, right? Because you have all the technology companies that come and go.
You can still find gold jackets hanging up in offices. I'm sure you've seen some of them.
Okay, yes. But did you know that I was going through my storage when I recently moved and I just pulled it out a couple weeks ago and I was like, I have a gold velvet jacket that I was like, it's meant to be. I was meant to be here.
The stars have aligned. That's right. The stars have aligned. That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So I'm an agent. I've been in the business 20 some years. I started off this industry doing everything by hand. I'd never had a computer when I started. But now it's a different ballgame. And I mean, in a big way. Right now, some of the transitions have been long and stretched out over time. Yeah. Some of them, however, where we are now, it's like it's hitting us like a brick. It's the way we go about doing business. So how do you encourage, or have you given any thought to this, like some of those agents in that realm regarding adopting new technologies or new workflows? Or,
Yeah, I have. And I've actually, tried to have some really candid conversations. And there are some who really want to integrate it. They just don't know how. And then there are some that are like, nope, I don't care. I'm not going to touch it. And obviously you can do business however you want to do business. But my conversation that I want to have with those who are hesitant is, and the reason why I actually did join was to be able to take the fear out of the unfamiliar with the technology and to start with baby steps, right? Because again, we're all learning what AI is as it's developing
Oh,
and
sure.
it's ever changing. But, you know, I really wanted to be able to take the new agents and, you know, open their eyes to the experience, but then also have the experienced agents really kind of work with the new of
Go ahead.
the new with the old, but really just taking the fear out of it and getting them familiar and starting to do classes and be, you know, I've reached out to different broker owner, the broker office managers
Yeah.
and just say, hey, listen, do you want me to come down and you want my team to come down and let's do a class? Let's get, you know, kind of into the nitty gritty of it.
Okay, what you just explained right there, that tail end, that's hand-to-hand combat. And I want to share something with you, but I'm going to reset the cameras because that was my alarm.
Okay.
Because my camera shut off.
Perfect.
And so I'm going to reset them, and then we'll be right back. Adoption of trying new things. I will share with you from personal experience. I'll refer to it as hand-to-hand combat, and it is what's necessary.
Feels like it sometimes.
Yeah, so interesting. A few years ago, I took a national role with Finance of America. It really focused on things like adoption of technology, CRMs, mortgage coach, video adoption, all these different things, right? Right when I took that job, COVID came along. And therefore, there was no travel. I mean, we remember those days, right? It's like we weren't flying anywhere. So we had trouble getting the adoption. However, the minute the airlines opened back up, the minute the restaurants opened back up, and I started traveling and going to offices and spending time with teams of salespeople, that's when the adoption took off. It was a hand-to-hand combat effect.
Yeah.
And I think you're right now traveling quite a bit, right? I mean, mostly by car, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even though, gosh, we have offices like, Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Eastern Idaho. So those are a little longer drives, I would imagine.
Flights.
Yeah.
They'll be flights.
Those will be flights. But nonetheless, I think it's an important comment that you make there. And again, it's hand-to-hand combat to create the adoption. Where do you see, if you have it all yet, where do you see the biggest amount of pushback? Like, here's 5 things to try. Any one thing jump out that agents are just hesitant to try?
And you're not talking like just implementation in general, like specifically of implementation. What are they afraid to try?
Yeah, like as an example, I've run into for years. I have been using video in our industry, and boy, it is like pulling teeth. It seems like to get agents to adopt video into their business model.
It is, and you know what? And I understand because a lot of people, right? They don't like the way they sound on camera, or don't know what to do with their hands, or don't know, you know, how to act on camera. And, you know, what I try to remind people when I say video is so important, all you're doing with video is just being yourself. And that's the most important thing, right? That'll come through because people want to know who you are. Right. They want the authenticity.
There you go.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just try to encourage people that you may play it back and notice your flaws, but I'm watching you, I'm listening to you, and I don't even notice anything. And a lot of people have in their mind that, you know, people who do American Dream TV or any other, you know, filming of any sort, production, that, you know, they get it right on the spots and bloopers don't happen. No, that's not the case at all. I mean, I have reels and reels and reels of bloopers, and you just have to go for it. It was actually really interesting. So Jody, in her Select Success course, she challenged the agents to make their first reel video or put themselves out there. And there was an agent in the Folsom office, and he was actually the first person to submit his video. And he had come into my office after he had recorded it. And he's like, I don't know, is this okay? You know, I was kind of nervous about it. It's perfect. It's great. Right. Well, he posted it to Facebook, and he got hundreds of likes on it because people, you know, they want to see you do really well, and they want to see you pursue things. Right. And so getting out of your comfort zone, he only got love and support. And, you know, he's like, oh my gosh, it took so many takes. Yeah, that's normal.
Right.
It's so normal. And so it's just going out there and not being afraid to do it. And don't worry about what you look like on camera. Don't worry about what you sound like, because that's how you sound to us.
Right. Isn't that amazing? And we often forget that as humans. We're just very vain by nature, right? And it's interesting because some years ago, one of our loan officers at Stanford, she's retired now, she had an in-person meeting with a lovely couple in the office. And when they left, it was a great meeting. I was in my office. I could overhear the conversation and stuff. And I went out to her and I said, hey, this is a great opportunity. Fire up your camera and shoot a quick video that you can send to them, thanking them for their time, right? Just a real high-touch thing, way more powerful than just a blank email.
Or a text. Thank you
so
much for coming in.
Yeah. So when I told her that, she says, oh, my gosh, Tim, this is a great idea. Hang on a second. Let me go fix my hair and makeup. And I said, wait.
They just left the meeting with you.
You were just sitting with them, right? And so I think the minute we, in our minds, put in camera, video, audio, we immediately freak out, you know? Now, I will say, I actually think it's one of the positives, if there are any, and I do think there are, that came out of COVID. Because here's what happened. All of these agents, all of these loan originators, all these people in the sales world, we're now doing everything on Zoom calls, which meant video. And they automatically, whether they knew it or not, started to become more familiar and comfortable with a camera on them. And so I think that's a real plus. And I don't know what you're seeing with the real estate agents in the company, but I've noticed, even from a distance, it seems like there's a ton more engagement in that regard, and social media and video. And are you seeing the same thing?
Well, I mean, because I'm still new to the company, I can't really give a fair judge on what it used to be like versus what it is now. However, there are some new agents who are kind of becoming, quote unquote, rising stars. Right. And they're doing that, being total newbies by using video and implementation of video. And it's not dancing around, right, and being a TikTok. If that's your jam, go for it.
Yeah.
Me, no. Trust me.
not dancing around.
No, unless it's line dancing, you're not going to see me, trying to do anything to song and dance and all that. But I mean, they are killing it, and their sales in a Dale market are killing it, and they're new, all because of video.
Yeah, in fact, one of the agents, and we've talked about it a few times, her and I, but I want to get Sarah into the studio up in Grass Valley. She's amazing.
She was one that was mentioned to me that I've been having my eye on.
Yeah, she's really doing a great job. And not just from a video perspective, but engaging social media. Yeah. So many of us that have been doing this for a lot of years, for a long time, we've pushed back on it. You know, so that's one tool, right? It's adopting social media. And by the way, I'm sure what you're doing with Select Group Marketing, you all are now expanding on that, right? With pre-designed templates for social media. And is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So we're kind of in the design phase of going that route. Also, in addition to C21 and CB have done their own individuals that we're trying to integrate into Select as well, with C21 Online and all of the reel templates that they're putting out there. But I mean, you can do things and create amazing reels off of Canva. Things are really, really simple nowadays. Right. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. I like the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Yep. Right? That's what you want to do. And the simpler the video, the better it goes. You don't need all these crazy transitions and filters and all that stuff. Just keep it really simple. Yeah. But years ago, and it really stuck with me, I was in a training, and it was social way back in the day before it was even like a real big thing. And the coach was just saying, get over yourself, right? Get over yourself, get over your ego, just post it and walk away. Yeah.
No, it's so important. And so, okay, as far as technology or tools, however you want to spell that out, you mentioned CRM, and I know that they were already working on building it, and I think it just continues to build and expand. Yeah. I think Jim has really spearheaded that for the last couple of years. Yeah. And from what I could tell, because I played around with it prior to me taking this new role, we were going to go down the road of building that out for Stanford Mortgage as well, one of the sister companies, because Now you have a CRM that you also control
Yes.
as a company. You can control the marketing materials in and out, that type of thing. I have had agents, loan officers included, say to me over the years, well, I don't want to use someone else's CRM because that's my client data. And I don't want, which is just, I'll be honest with you, that's just silly to me. Like, who's going to do something with those past clients? And the fact of the matter is anytime we can automate some of those high touches, whether it's birthday campaigns or annual value reviews, whatever,
Well, I mean, marketing, we create a newsletter for our agents that goes to their CRM if it's in the CRM. So they're automatically getting touched every month
Right.
with curated material and curated content for their CRM without even touching it, as long as their CRM is ready to go. So that's a huge mark that I'm trying to encourage agents.
Piece.
Yeah.
That is a huge piece, especially because I'm going to make a statement here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but because your marketing team is building all these different material in the newsletter and everything, then it also has, that comes with it is the compliance.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yep.
And so if I'm a single salesperson and I want to go do this stuff on my own, I'm going to do it on my own because I can do it better,
Yeah.
right? That's the mindset. Well, what I can't do better is the compliance aspect.
Yeah.
Let's assume I'm the greatest graphics designer in the market. I still don't know how to deal with the compliance piece, and a lot of people overlook that, but it is very important.
Oh, it's super important. And even to kind of touch back on the social media aspect of things, Hunter, he sends out every Monday a newsletter to the company, but it's his social media. So he creates individual posts,
Right.
gets them ready for you, and you can copy and share the links however you want.
Right.
You can, hold your phone, copy the link, go to Instagram, post it, and it's done for you.
Right.
So, but those are all things that, we make sure they're good, they're vetted, and, safe to post and things like that. So it's super important.
Now, I also think you guys have, which I think you've been largely involved in, is listing video and or listing marketing materials, right? I mean, I think you guys have that all in-house for the most part. I've seen some video samples that are just incredible, like lifestyle videos, not just, hey, here's a house, and that's impactful,
Yeah, I mean, one of my main ways personally that I built my business was doing video. And that's super important for the agents because, again, we can't just be stick in the sign, pray that we get a call, right? That's not how the industry is anymore. We actually have to really make sure we're working and capturing the lifestyle of the area, especially because we have so many relocation people coming, from the Bay Area, specifically in Northern California.
Right.
And really making sure that we have the lifestyle aspect of it and what to do and what's around. So one thing that I want to be able to incorporate are more videos like that and help, people get more comfortable with that. But showcasing the arena, showcasing that we're, close to Folsom Lake or Tahoe or, driving distance from wine country or whatever area you are in, represent the area and what it's like to live there, because that's what makes people fall in love with you and sets you apart from, your other agent competition.
No question about it. And by the way, regarding lifestyle videos, in particular in regards to real estate, I have to imagine in a luxury market, that's just mandated. Like you really have to do that.
Oh, 100%. If your agent, I might get some heat for this, but if your luxury agent is not doing video for you, that's not sending that video to all of the luxury feeder markets, what are you even paying them for? It's expensive. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like $2,000 or on average for video, but
but it really, is it though? I mean, is it
right
when you really look at the overall picture?
Right.
I mean, it's really a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. 100%. But it's, it's just something that you have to do 100%. So yeah.
So this might be more of a question when and if we ever get Jody in the studio, but are we seeing a lot of new agents enter the industry?
I think so. I mean, there was a stat that said the agents are fleeing the industry, and yeah, they probably are, because they came in 2020, 2021 and saw, oh my gosh, this is so easy.
Yeah.
And then realized that we're now going back to basics, and we're now going back to how the market really was when I got into it. I got into it in 2014. And, a lot of them have dropped off, but we're onboarding agents every week, and we're constantly, we get to see them, and my team's constantly doing, the look who's new to Select, and does that on the newsletters. And there's always so many agents that join, which is really awesome and really encouraging. But Jody does a really good job with Select Success.
Oh, no question.
But even with her pre-licensing, which I guess...
That's okay. We'll keep going.
Which a lot of people don't even know that we offer that.
Right.
Which is a huge, huge feeder into that, because you can be an agent trying to recruit to come to your company, but you can send them to, a random online education school, and they don't pass the test, or they have a hard time. But saying, hey, I work for Select. We have our own, one, class that you get to meet and learn from Jody. And if there's anybody that you want to be learning from, it's her.
Oh, no question. And I participated in that and taught some intro to lending classes for that group. In fact, I love doing those. Even though I will tell you that it's gotten so big now that it's done virtually, right, via Zoom call or Teams call, whatever the case. And for me personally, like, I much prefer to be in front of the group talking, but that's just a presentation preference. You know, it's the new age, so I'm learning to get used to it. So, by the way, you're right. I think there's some agents that have left the industry. Some of them have been in a long time. Some of them it was time. I'm seeing the same thing happen in the loan origination business as well.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting that the last several years have been in this refi boom where you could almost just walk outside and loans were falling out of the sky because interest rates went down to 3%. But now all of a sudden the rubber meets the road. And I have said this really ad nauseum. Everyone that's listening to this will hear me say it time and time again, that if all a loan officer knows how to do is sell a rate, that's a problem for me, because rates change. And by the way, last time I checked, none of us could change that. In other words, I haven't worked my way up that far up the ladder yet to where I can actually affect interest.
No, you can't?
The economy. No, I know. It's shocking. Maybe someday. Who knows? And so here we are now in a having risen interest rate market. By the way, I'm happy to report rates have come back down, actually quite a bit in just even the last couple of weeks. So that's good news. I actually think that real estate will pick up again as a result. Obviously, it always goes up and down. And the one thing that hasn't changed is continued appreciation. It blows my mind how strong the real estate market is. And it's basic economics. It's supply versus demand.
Oh, yeah.
And is our inventory still relatively low everywhere where you're seeing kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically, I was just having a conversation with one of my clients today right before this, and, we were looking in a certain area, and nothing has come on in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
And they're wanting to actually list their house in January, and she was concerned because, it's typically the slow time of the year. Are there even buyers? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
There's always going to be buyers in every season because you have job changes, right? You have the 5 Ds, death, divorce. What are the other ones? I don't know. But the reasons why people sell. And it's declined, but there's still that want, that need.
Oh, no, the demand is still very, very high. I talk to loan officers daily, and it's not a problem of getting someone approved to buy a home. It's a problem finding the home to buy. And it's interesting because even though when rates first went up, the demand slowed pretty considerably. I think there was a little bit of a deep breath and a, oh no, what?
I think there was a panic.
Yeah, well, there was a group of buyers that were pre-approved at a 3% number. And in a very short time, it went from 3% to 5% to 7%, ultimately about a month or so ago, 8% plus.
Yeah.
And that group of buyers, quickly disappeared, right? They no longer qualified. However, as the clock continued to tick, what we saw is new buyers entering the market they never had any premonition of needing a 3% interest rate. You see, it was just normal. It was just the market is the market is the market is, right? And so I think sales have continued to be really strong. Great opportunities for buyers right now, maybe paying full price, getting a little bit of a seller credit to pay towards closing costs.
Again, right? So my push towards being the agent side of me / marketing, right? There's deals and there's deals out there. Always. There always will be. But you have to be more creative and educate yourself on what you can do for your buyers and for your sellers, right? And it's not going to be the cookie cutter easy transactions anymore. It's going to be making sure, in a slower market, I'm educating myself on different programs, right? You need to make sure you have an agent and your agent know how to have the discussion of what is a rate buy down? What does that look like, right? Or if maybe it's not a 2-1 buy down, there's different things that you can do, or be negotiating and working out, seller credits, or having, the credits go towards buying down your rate if you offer a certain amount. Like, everything is workable.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you know the tools that are out there and that you're getting plugged in with your local lenders who know what programs are.
No question about it. And by the way, it's so important, little plug for the lending world here. It's so important those conversations are had prior to offers being written, because oftentimes an offer is written and accepted, which is great news. But if they had maybe addressed the strategy ahead of writing the offer, it would have been more powerful or beneficial to everybody.
Oh,
really.
and even pre-negotiating the offer with the agent on the other side, right? Saying, hey, this is my buyer situation. Where's your seller at? Where can we make this work? This is what we can do. What can we make it? Let's make a deal happen.
Yeah.
It's not just blindly submitting at $100,000 over asking anymore.
Right. By the way, a little side note, one of our offices in Southern California, when I was at Finance of America, they had a client that offered $700,000 above the asking
What?
price. Yeah, I know. That's what I said.
Did they get it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gosh, I should hope so, right?
I don't know anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
You want to know what would stick a knife in me? If I found out that was a Zillow lead.
By the way, that's the other thing. You guys have leads that are available for agents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, through the relocation department.
Yes.
At least I think that's what they used to call it, was the relo team.
Yep, SBDG. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
so it's actually super exciting. So the new vice president of business development, Jenna, I can't remember. She just changed her title. So congratulations to her, and shout out to her. But coming alongside of her with our marketing team, we're doing an entire rebrand, and she is moving mountains with the progress that she's doing there from before, and it just really opens up an entirely new avenue for agents. And if they want to be a part of that, that, I guess, the lead source, right?
Right.
It can really just benefit them and boost their business. And then it's all just, a rolling momentum, right? So yeah, that's one more thing that we offer. And then going back to, the content creation and the listing marketing packages with the listing concierge program. Were you here when we rolled that out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's where I first saw some of the different video and photo options that were available. And I'm like, holy smokes. And by the way, I want to say it was like $900, $1,000, something like that.
No, not even.
No?
No.
I mean, I was just like, wow.
We have packages starting at like $299, depending on what level you want. Yeah, we have 3 different levels, and it just really, it's a selling point, right? Because if you're on a listing appointment, which is another reason why I joined, because I'm like, this is amazing. But if you're on a listing appointment and you can say that you have an entire marketing team behind you, not just yourself, that are putting together social media, that are putting together Facebook campaigns, Instagram campaigns, you're putting boosts towards it, you're getting thousands of views, plus you're getting e-blasts to our network of feeder networks that are thousands and thousands and thousands of agents across the United States. Hello.
Right.
Hello. Right. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. And I love when you throw out the numbers that the information is getting in front of people.
Well, so really cool story, and I'm going to brag on my department a little bit here just because I thought it was a really awesome testament to what we can do. There's an agent who has had a listing for over a year, and it's an interesting property, okay? And her contract was about to expire, and her sellers did not want to renew. They were already interviewing new agents.
Okay.
So she reached out to the marketing team and said, hey guys, I need help. Is there anything we can do? So we had our social media strategist, Hunter, jump on it. And he started boosting and, doing radius searches and kind of his little, I'm not going to give it all away, but I'll just say we're creative. Okay. Yeah. She started getting calls on it and she got thousands of views on her property. The sellers, she brought that data and those stats to the sellers. The sellers re-signed a listing agreement with her after they were going to cancel and interview other agents.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's impressive. And the reality is the agent really did very little there because the support from the select group and in your case, your marketing team, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. Okay, so what, if any, and I'm sure you've got plenty that you give, but an agent says, okay, I'm finally ready to start using my CRM. What does that mean? Where do they start?
So if they are brand new, they need to get their sphere of influence, right?
Yeah. And
funny enough, I've actually found out that not a lot of agents know what that is or even have it. And I always say base number needs to be 250 to 300 to get starting. And everybody's like, oh, I don't have that many people. I don't know that many people. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Go through your Facebook, go through your phone, go through your Instagram, and just grab their data. It's there. Their emails are there. It's right on their Facebook. It's right on their Instagram.
Right.
I mean, it's really easy to grab this stuff. And also to say, hey, listen, I'm jumping into a new career. I want to be able to send you birthday cards. Who doesn't want a birthday card?
Right.
Right? So establish your sphere so that when you have your CRM up and running, first thing you want to do, get them enrolled in the newsletters, and then set up the birthday cards that we have to specifically select, right?
Right.
That automatically go out, that sync to their birthdays. And then their virtual, the virtual e-cards that we have. Those are 3 things. 4, I can't count. It's a good thing I'm not in lending.
Oh, no, we have calculators for that.
But it's just 3 things right there that you're automatically going to have, 1 touch a month for the newsletter, holiday cards for virtual, and then birthday cards. That's 3+ touches right there that you're staying in front of them saying, hey, I'm still in business over here, FYI, right? So I would say those are the 3 main, and they're all automatic and they're all really done. You set it and forget it.
Right. And of course, it's a great resource to, and this probably gets more into the coaching aspect, whether it's time blocking a certain amount of hours in a day or in a week to just reach out and call people. I did an interesting exercise with our Stanford sales team some months ago, and I would give them a task every day. It was the 30-day grind challenge.
Yes.
Now, remember, I did that with the managers. Yes. You'll remember. But
that was where the video jumped out of.
Yes.
You told them to do a video. Jody encouraged her students in Select Success, and that's what happened. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the tasks it was real simple. Call 10 people. Well, actually, the first task was write down 10 people's names that have had a positive impact on your life and why. The next day was call those 10 people and let them know that. Don't call and ask them if they want to list their house. Have a different conversation. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that exercise turned out to be extremely powerful because what I've learned is anytime we can go through the exercise of expressing gratitude, it literally changes our day.
It does.
I mean, 180 degrees, it's like I could have been in a bad mood, and the minute I spend any amount of time showing gratitude towards someone or something, it totally changes my mindset for the day.
100%. And phone calls for me are really important. And I'll actually be an example of that because from your perspective, from a lender's perspective, probably, I don't even know, 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, it was my birthday. And I was sitting in my car and I got a call. And it was from a lender. And he was the only person to call me that day so far. Or not like, I'm talking like professionally, not talking like family. They do love me, I swear. But he called me and just said, hey, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I know, people are posting on your wall and I'm sure you're getting texts, but, I was at a time where I didn't get a call years ago and it really affected me. And so now I want to make sure that I reach out to people on it's their birthday to make sure that they know that they're appreciated, they're thought of, and they're loved. And to that day, I can't say no. And you know what I mean? Like, just that testament of that created a friendship different than other ones, right? And how many years ago was that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how many birthdays have I had? And who can I remember who posts to your wall or says, HBD? But that phone call, to this day, is still stuck in my head. So
yeah, that's amazing. I have a similar story. One of our loan officers, I'll never forget what he said. He always called his clients on their birthdays, and he had it calendared out. He had quite a few.
Yeah.
And he also sent them a card, but he always made a quick phone call just to wish him a happy birthday. And one of his clients said to him once, he said, there's two people that call me on my birthday, you and my mom. Now, where do you think that put him as a loan officer in ranking up there with that client? I mean, you can't beat that, So to your point, the power of a phone call is pretty awesome. And my perspective is that phone call doesn't always have to be about, do you want to buy or sell a home?
No.
In fact, maybe just the opposite. Dare I say that? Dan's going to kill me when I say that. But there's so much more to have conversations with that are surrounding the topic of relationship building, right? Just checking in. How are people doing? I don't know if you're hearing it from agents or not, but I actually think something that we need to remind ourselves of in our industries, both sides of the fence. I think people are concerned. And I think they're looking for guidance, right? If they currently own a home, they're concerned. What's the value of the home going to do? Are rates going to do anything any more out of whack than what they already have? What's the state of the economy? And if you're looking to buy a home, well, what does that look and feel like? And that's why I say again ad nauseum, educate, advise, and strategize. I tell loan officers all the time, you don't have to know everything.
No. What
you have to do is position yourself as the industry expert. If you don't know the answer, you know where to go get it.
And if you're talking to somebody who says that they know everything, run. Run, because they don't, right? I know agents who've been in it for 30 years, and they still learn something new every day.
Yeah.
And you won't know everything. But the most important thing that you can do, which I was actually given this advice previously when I was on my first team, but it's don't say that you know the answer or try to make up an answer. If you don't know the answer, say, you know what, I don't know that answer right now, but let me go figure it out for you.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great point. So you're doing all these things. You've got American Dream TV. You're running the marketing department over at Select Group. You're traveling now more, mostly by car right now, but I'm sure Jim will change that in the near future. You'll be flying all over.
I just said they just need to get their own PJ. It'll probably be a lot more affordable.
I'm with you on that. In fact, I might come back if you guys.
You hear that now. You hear it.
I mean, if we could get a private jet going on, come on, why not, right? And then, of course, you're doing real estate as well. And you just made the comment. You just were talking to a client that's preparing to list their home in January.
We're in escrow right now on purchasing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have to throw out names or anything there, but I am curious, what is their situation? Why are they now listing their home?
So it has to do with lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. They want to be able to be closer to where the husband works and closer to where the school's kids are, rather than having a hour and a half commute for the husband.
Sure.
They want to be able to be more in the middle so that he's not driving and spending 10, 15 hours just on the commute, so that he could actually spend more time at home, just to make it easier for that, right?
So a life-changing event. And so now my next question is did they have a mortgage currently on their house, or did they own it outright?
They had a small-ish mortgage.
A small mortgage, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say with a pretty low interest rate.
At the time, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they've made the decision to move. And by the way, even though rates have come down a little bit, their interest rate won't be anywhere near close to what they were on the other. Now, are they able to pay cash for their new home, or are they getting?
They are paying cash for their new home.
Okay, so then that doesn't affect them so much.
Correct.
The reason I ask the question is when I talk to real estate agents and do office meetings and that type of thing, I'll ask for a show of hands of how many realtors think clients don't want to list their homes because they're in love with their 3% interest rate. Now, as you can imagine, every hand goes up. Mm-hmm. And I'm really trying to help real estate agents understand that we have to change our mindset on this.
100%.
Because to just make the assumption that someone won't move solely because of what their current rate is versus their new rate, I don't know what your take is on it, but to me, it's a huge mistake to make that assumption.
It is.
Because of lifestyle changes, maybe it's, Lord forbid, divorce or death or, but job changes, relocation, upsize, downsize, all of those things have nothing to do with rate. Now,
well, okay, for example, right? I bought a house myself in August. Rates were high sixes.
Yeah.
I'm in real estate and I bought my own house in August when they were high sixes. So if I'm comfortable enough, right, this is what I do for a living because there was an opportunity.
Sure.
Mind you, I was renting. I had killer rate or kind of decent mortgage or rent, not rate, rent. But it was the location that I was in love with. And I did not want to move from the location of where I was at for the longest time until I found an opportunity where the house was affordable because rates were getting so high, right?
Right.
So I said, you know what? Let me figure this out. And I know that rent is going to continue to increase because they were saying, hey, we want to get you to $2,200 for a 2-bedroom, just so you know. So expect your rent to be going up every 6 months or so. We would get a notice.
Right.
And so I knew that was in the future. And so I was looking at my situation of, well, you know what? This is what's going to happen. This is what rates are, but this is the house. This is my situation. I need to get out of my situation for a better life.
Right.
So again, it's situation, it's job change, it's to ease the stress of mental, commuting.
Right.
There's always factors. And, it's hard. And I'm dealing with some clients right now. They just had a baby a year ago and they're, pregnant again and they're in a 3-bedroom and they already have it. Like, you can't control some things.
Right.
And everything is fixable and everything is adjustable and you can, make it work and get creative and, again, work with rates.
The strategies, right? It's like what strategies exist. And by the way, rates are important. I don't mean to indicate they're not.
Oh, no.
I just don't think it's the motivating factor. And Dan Jacuzzi and I, we've had tons of conversation around this topic, And yes, it's true that the needle moves when rates go down or up. We see changes in the market. But I'll be honest with you, I'm going to blame that on the media.
Hello.
I mean, I was just I had a guest in the studio a couple weeks ago who's a lender out in Florida. And we were having a similar conversation. And I'm just like, what in the world? The media makes it sound like we're getting ready to enter into 07, 08 again. And it's not even remotely close. I mean.
No, not at all. I don't know if you follow Ryan Lindquist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How I just went to a market yearly update with him, and he was saying like, oh my gosh, foreclosures are up 3% this year. And that was basically like there was 3 foreclosures in the entire area or whatever number it was. Right. So it seemed like an astronomical amount percentage wise. And then he's like, FYI, this is what it means. Yeah. So in reality, don't get me wrong, I'm on all those foreclosure lists. Yeah. I have the REO things, right? They're like, oh, you need to sign up for this class, pay $200 and I'll get you the list. Did I pay $200? Really? Because I was curious? Yes. Did I want to kind of see what they were doing and they're figuring out their program so that I can kind of figure out some more marketing strategies? Yes. But have I gotten anything from those? Have any of those actually become REOs or foreclosures? Right. Not as many as people are thinking.
No, in fact, it's really interesting. Foreclosure numbers from a national perspective are historically low, and they did tick up a year or so ago. However, it's important to understand the why, and the why is because there was a moratorium on foreclosures. You couldn't do it all through that COVID time. So the minute that lifted, all of a sudden the foreclosure numbers caught up, and that's what threw a quick little spike, but nothing like what we saw in 07, 08.
That's the point, right? Yeah. It's not 07, 08. So
no, and property values are still forecasted to go up. Okay, so here's what we've covered. We love video. You and me both. We love video. We know that's a must go to, and you're going to help agents with that. I just know it.
Yes.
Right? You're more than happy to help them with that.
Yes, that's my goal. I'm trying to get video rooms in all the offices. That's my main thing.
Yeah, that's cool. And then, of course, the big one is the CRM. I think you've driven that point home pretty good. And marketing materials, well, that's your department, so you're kind of preferential to that. You're going to, but nonetheless, you guys are doing a ton of stuff, or at least have it available to the agents.
Yeah, we actually I don't know if you saw this or not, but we just created they're called insiders, and they are essentially you can use it for relocation, but not necessarily just relocation, but they're kind of like 3-panel, 4-panel trifolds or booklets, however you want to call it, that talk about the area and what is happening in the area for winter, because it's fall, winter, spring, summer type of thing. And it has current events, things to do, things about the area, restaurants that are being highlighted that you can use, again, for content, or use them, mail them out to your clients as just another point of touch, or have them at open houses. My main goal with all the marketing material is to make sure that it has some sort of value that they keep. I don't care if it lands on the coffee table. I don't care if it lands on the counter. I just don't want it going into the trash instantly. If it sits on the table for a day or two, that's a win. If it sits on their fridge because it's a stinking baseball calendar, right?
Right.
It's a win.
Yeah.
There's a guy in our office. He created himself because, again, he wasn't quite sure and comfortable of the marketing department, right? Because he's still getting used to things. He brought over the idea from his last brokerage, but it was metrics of cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What a cup is, what a teaspoon is, what the conversion rate is.
Sure, that's fantastic.
Brought those to our event that we had out at the Folsom Christmas tree lighting.
Okay.
And those suckers flew out like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked at him, I'm like, why didn't you have us create those? And he was like, well, I had some extras from okay. I'm like, well, now just so you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's going to be in the library here soon.
Yeah.
New documents. So
on it already.
CRM is the big one, right? Getting the agents engaged in the CRM. I think a lot more are, but I think even more.
Yeah.
And not just Caldwell Banker and C21 and select group agents. I mean, agents in general. The power of a CRM, and actually, let me change that. Not agents. If we're in the business of helping people, so I don't care if you sell medicine or if you're selling homes or mortgages, staying in front of people is imperative.
And you have to, in a market like this, you have to go down to the basics. And what are the basics, right? It's communication and reach outs and talking with your clients and following up with your clients, using that CRM and making sure that you document personal things in the CRM, right? If they just had a death in the family, you can, mark that down and send them some cards, or put it in as an anniversary and send them cards, thinking of you. Or if they have a wedding and an anniversary, put their anniversary in it, get them on an automatic drip campaign, happy anniversary,
right?
Or, send them flowers or anything. We're human. We constantly forget. You're not going to remember all of your clients and their special home anniversaries, birthdays, anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's all about using something that'll organize your business so that you don't have to have that brain power.
And the personal touch, it's interesting. And I know Dan talks about this a lot. If someone has a need, what have we done ahead of that need so that when it comes up for them, they think of us first?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to give Jordan a call. I remember I just got her newsletter last week, and now they're interested in selling their home. Mm-hmm. It's top of mind, right? It's the top of mind awareness there. And so just those drips, those mailing pieces you can send out, walking neighborhoods. Are you seeing too many agents doing that? Like the...
So yes and no.
Yeah.
After COVID, that really, from what I've seen, has stopped, just because a lot of people got uncomfortable with going door to door.
Right.
Knocking on doors, talking to people directly, answering them for fear of safety, for fear of health.
Right.
And just kind of the unpredictability of that. But I have to say, I did hear and I don't know if it's my story necessarily to tell, so I'm going to try to be as vague as I can. But I was just talking with a friend of another agent of mine, and he was saying it was a success story. And there was a football player who also got licensed, who joined a real estate team and was door knocking.
Wow. Yeah.
So if he can do it with a status that he has already and is getting over himself to go solicit business to get listings.
Right.
I mean, it's still something that we can do.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think maybe one of the reasons why it does work is because no one's doing it.
Yeah.
So when you are that agent that goes and takes that step, no pun intended, right? And you walk up and you're knocking on doors, I think that immediately separates you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's interesting. I think there's
you have
lots
to be respectful and make sure, no solicit,
for
all of
sure.
that.
Yeah, of course. But it's interesting, we all have cell phones. And I saw a comedian recently make a comment, and actually, sadly, I think it's so true. And he held up his phone, and he's like, we shouldn't call these phones anymore. We should simply call these call screening devices.
Yes, I saw that.
Did you see it?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think that is so true, right? And so the power of texting, the power of video, especially if you can send your video via text. What, are you kidding me? That's a guaranteed, by the way, 100% open rate. I promise you, every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you had to, let me rephrase this. When I was working around nationally trying to get salespeople to adopt different technologies, and I'll just pick a number and I'll say we had 5 different phenomenal platforms. They all did something different, right? One was video, one was CRM, one was loan comparisons, one was market analysis. I mean, it goes on and on and on, right? And what the conclusion we finally came to is we have to stop promoting all 5. What we have to promote is pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one and start there. Commit to adopting this one thing.
Did you read the One Thing book?
I haven't, no.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to get you a copy. But yes.
Yeah.
Pick one thing and do it really well.
Yeah, pick that one thing. By the way,
I'm the worst at that, though, because look at everything that I do.
I know. Well, I was going to say, you're a TV show host, you're a realtor, luxury real estate marketing manager. Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Jordan. Yeah, pick one thing, says Jordan.
Yeah. Do as they say, not as they do.
Right. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, it did help a ton. So I want to encourage anybody listening in our industries, think about that. Remind ourselves that. Pick one thing and commit to it. Mm-hmm. That is really, really key, is to commit to getting good at it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you were going to pick one thing and you look back over your last 10 plus years as a real estate agent, what would you say the one thing has been that's made the biggest impact for you?
In my career in real estate, in growing it, or in visibility, or
I would say in growing your business, creating putting you in an environment. Look, not everyone can go and become, well, I guess everyone can, but not a lot of people end up doing luxury real estate. Mm-hmm. It's in itself almost a separate type of market, my perception anyway. So what one thing did you do that led you to where you are now? Like, what was that one technology, that practice, that best practice, whatever the case is, that led you to where you are now?
Saying yes.
Saying yes. Mm-hmm. Great movie. Yes, man.
Yeah. Saying yes and just showing up, right? Because real estate is hard. And it's not like selling sunset, right?
Right.
And you have to be willing to say yes to those late night, last minute showings. You have to be willing to, if you're trying to grow your business, right, you need to be willing to grind it out and do it. I mean, there are so many different family events that I've missed. And this is just me personally. Right, this is not what you want to do, then you don't have to do it.
Right.
But I knew early on that if I was going to make real estate succeed, I needed to be different and make sure that I was available for my clients and make sure that my clients know that I'm there for them and that I care.
Right.
I originally had no intention, FYI, of getting into real estate ever. Like in high school, when somebody came up to me and like, oh, you're a great real estate agent, I laughed at them and I was like, I want a real job.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what that is. And then here I am. But yeah, I would say it's saying yes and showing up and being consistent. But I think I really grew my business personally from my community involvement. Yeah. So I've always been in part of multiple different nonprofits. I'm constantly at different community outreaches, fundraisers, golf tournaments. Yeah. And, it's coming from contribution in everything that I do. So that if I'm coming from contribution, people aren't seeing me as, oh, that's the annoying real estate agent who's trying to get my business. It's, oh my gosh, you're doing everything and you're also in real estate, right? And that's why I love real estate, because I have the flexibility to be able to be a part of all of those events and still do everything and still be able to have a living.
Right. Boy, I got to tell you, where I know it's your main office, but the Folsom office knocks it out of the park in that regard.
Yeah.
They're very involved in community events. I think that's huge.
Well, Folsom itself is just a very community-centric community, I guess, because of everything that we have. I mean, all of the nonprofits that are there, the ones that I'm involved in, you know, chamber, all of the different events, the community events, the tree lightings, the, you know, Sutter Street strolls, all of that allows a lot of opportunity. But if you're in a market to where you can't, create your own.
Sure.
Right? Create your own events.
Why not? Yeah, that's huge. Okay, so big takeaways for me today, and hopefully everyone else, is CRM, huge. Video, of course, I'm going to beat up on video until I die. That's
I love
just,
it.
That's who I am. I'm a big fan of video. And by the way, it's important to note, I'll just say that your first couple videos, speaking to the audience, not you, Jordan, they'll be terrible. Just know it. And by the way, that's fantastic. It's perfect. Every now and again, I'll come across some of the videos I did, 10 plus years ago, and I go, oh my dear Lord, what was I thinking, But
yeah, when I was told, oh, you need to go connect with your audience and share your year-long goals and, why you got into real estate. And it was a 10-minute video that I uploaded to Facebook. Yeah. And I was looking at that mortified.
Well, I will tell you something that I think is really interesting, and I find myself really in the depths of this in my new role. It's a statistic that right now almost 51% of all home buyers, this is nationally now, are millennials. And I got news for you. And owners or home buyers right now in the market are millennials. And I held up my phone, but the camera went off.
Oh.
That is where they live and breathe. Is right there. And by the way, it's not necessarily having a conversation with you, which is the most frustrating thing in the world ever, right? But it's texting, it's instant messaging, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, it's Facebook, it's, all these different platforms. And this is how this group of folks communicate. And it's very, very important for all of us in sales to realize that and make sure that we change in that aspect of how we do business. I'll give you an example. I was working with some folks recently, and we were looking at some different training programs and, making some changes to a slide deck and stuff. And this young man says, actually, Tim, I kind of lost where I was. I'm not used to doing this without a script. And that was very telling to me because that younger generation, possibly in that millennial realm, I don't know that our society's done a real good job teaching kids how to have conversations no different than you and I are having today. I think everything is text. Does that make sense? It's really important, I think, for us as salespeople to understand, acknowledge that, and figure out how do we jump into that aspect of their world. What is the best communication strategy? By the way, I don't think there's an answer. I think it changes for everybody, right? If I'm dealing with my mom and dad, listen, I'll be honest with you. Sending them a text is probably not the right way to go.
Probably not.
Emails even may be a stretch, and I think it's interesting.
To your parents?
Yeah.
You email your parents?
No. Sometimes. I'm going to get in trouble right now because I'm terrible when it comes to communicating with my parents, I talked to my mom today, actually, and she's like, I worry. I just think maybe I've done something to upset you. I'm just bad about that. I'm just bad. I'm about calling my mom on a more regular basis.
Is it just a you thing, or is it for me just a man thing?
I'm going to go with your version because that lets me off the hook. Other than being a man. Yeah, other than being a man.
I'm actually horrible when it comes to responding to things that are not just work. It's my response time is good luck. I mean, if you don't hear from me, I tell my friends, just double text me or call me, because for me, work is a priority when I'm dealing with contracts and answers and questions and things like that. I get hundreds of texts a day. I get like 45 to 50 calls a day, but it's just my mind is so exhausted. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to get back to that, but then I get distracted. So
I get it 100%.
Yeah.
You've just hit the nail right on the head, and I get that all the time. Like, well, you haven't called me back. Well, listen, I literally have been on 50 phone calls today, solving everyone's problems but my own, and I just don't feel like talking to anybody anymore.
Yeah,
it's not personal. It's really not. I just not what I want to do.
Yeah,
I should get better at that. So Anyway, let's wrap this up. You've obviously seen a tremendous amount of success in your career. So one, congratulations on that. That's huge.
I don't even know how. Like
I do, and you haven't realized it, but you've actually in one way or another said it this whole entire conversation, and that is work. You've put in the work. And yes, there are things that can be automated, and you touched on that with the CRM. That's huge. But if you won't take the step to actually build the CRM, meaning upload your sphere of influence, I got news for you, Jordan. You or I or any other could be the greatest coach on the planet, and it isn't going to change anything. At the beginning and end of every day, salespeople need to make the decision to work. I mean, it's not magic. It just is what it is, you know? And look, our industries allow us a ton of flexibility.
That can either be a good thing or a bad thing.
That's right. It can be good news or bad news.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people all the time that being in the loan industry allowed me to be a football coach for all three of my boys all the years they were growing up. A normal 8-to-5 job would not allow me. I could not have said, hey, guys, I got to leave at 3 today. I got football practice. Yeah, that wasn't going to be an option.
Right.
So that's good news. The bad news would be is if, to some extent, I'll say, took advantage of that and didn't put in the work. And so you don't realize this, but you have said it the whole time. What you've done, Jordan, is put in the work. And, you know, I'll tell you, the American Dream TV aspect of things, that's an investment, by the way. Yeah. That's not just work. That's an investment. That's you making a conscious decision to say, this is how I'm going to go put myself in front of more people. Yeah. So kudos to you. That's huge. And not a lot of people make that decision, by the way, right? So that's, to me, first and foremost. And if I was going to advise agents and loan officers the same way, take advantage of CRMs. You know, when I started in this business, I didn't have a CRM. We didn't have email. When I started in this business, everything was still handwritten. I mean, I remember doing good.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I know. We didn't have computers. We did not have a computer. I did everything by hand.
Well, I have to say, you don't look anywhere near, I'm assuming your age must be.
Yeah, well, you know, no, it's true. That was only 24 years ago.
Did you, okay, I'm an office supply nerd geek. Did you have to have like those carbon copy papers that like you have the yellow, the pink, the white, you'd write things out?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. In fact, our loan applications almost look like a triplicate form that had, and you know, so that you'd write on the top, but it would go through. You know, it had that carbon paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! My grandpa would give me that to play on when I was little because.
Wow, did you hear that, everybody? Her grandpa would give it.
You're not that.
Okay. So I would grab a stack of blank loan disclosures off a shelf and go meet with clients at their kitchen table and complete good faith estimates with a pencil. True story. And I'd go, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. And I would erase the number and then write in the proper number. And I would have in my briefcase, how now I'm dating myself, right? So I'd have a briefcase, and taped to the backside of the lid of the briefcase was a payment factor card. And as an example, 7% rate, for whatever reason, I remember this, the payment factor was like 0.665. And I would put in the loan amount times 0.665, and that was my principal and interest payment.
Stop it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then computers started to come around, and then all of a sudden we had email, and one of the biggest mistakes I made in my career was not understanding the power of capturing people's emails. We didn't even have I didn't have a platform to do that, you know? And so there's a lot of clients that I helped and I started off this industry with that I have still not been in touch with because I don't have their contact.
But that's still an issue to this day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so many agents don't have a way to contact or like to grab information, and that's still a struggle. So
by the way, you hit the nail right on the head when agents say to you, well, I don't have that much to create a sphere of influence. No, yeah, you do. Open up your phone, literally start an A and go. And by the way, they'll be shocked how many people they actually know.
Oh, totally.
You know, and I love the exercise, and you mentioned this as well, of just like Facebook. Go on, just pull up your list of Facebook friends.
Well, okay. So, side note, but also really funny because it's also really true. Dating apps.
Okay.
They see that I'm a real estate agent. a lot of ways that they break the ice is by saying, I don't want to give this away because I've actually gotten leads from it. But they've said, hey, so you're a real estate agent. Like, I think I want to buy a house. Like, what does that mean? Let's go to drinks and talk about it.
Right.
And even though I may not be that interested, I've actually gotten leads from it. But they've said, hey, so you're a real estate agent. Like, I think I want to buy a house. Like, what does that mean? Let's go to drinks and talk about it.
Right.
And even though I may not be that interested, if they talk business with me, you bet I'm going to go on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I still have guys on my phone that say his name wants to buy in this location.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Yeah. But I guess to kind of segue into why, this job seems so interesting to me was because I need to be able to put the proof in the pudding, right? Yeah. So I need to make sure that I'm showing the agents. And I think that's kind of the cool dynamic of why they decided to hire somebody who is an agent to have this position, was because if I can be going through the motions with them and saying, look, this is who I have in my CRM. This is how I'm growing my CRM. Yep. This is the marketing that I'm doing. This is the business that I'm getting from it. Or this is the refresh and refurbish program that I'm doing. I was certified. I'm going out using our marketing tools, getting these clients. So it's making...
Jordan, I'm going to give you a phrase. You've heard it, but I'm going to say it just to make sure you pick up what I'm laying down here. Okay, I'm about to throw some deep knowledge. This is deep right now.
No, okay.
What you just said is so true. One of the biggest reasons why I've had any level of success I have had with mortgage salespeople over the last several years is that I am them. Mm-hmm. I am not a corporate guy saying you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. No. I'm in the trenches with them. I do what they do, and it's what we'll call street level leadership. Doesn't mean you're not a manager, a leader, a department head. You're doing it from a street level perspective. And
I'm starting over.
Right.
With a brand new brand and a brand new strategy and a brand new everything.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, anybody listening knows, number one, we got to get you back here again.
Yeah.
Like we could make this a regular deal. And by the way, Jody is throwing things through her room right now.
Well, I told you I was supposed to punch you in the face. And I said, excuse me? And she says, he'll know what that means. I said, okay. I'm like, I don't know I'm on that level, but okay.
Before you leave the studio tonight, we're going to take a picture right here in front of this T ROWE sign, and we're going to text it to you. I mean, we just got to wind her up a little bit. So we definitely have to get you back in the studio. But Jordan, again, congratulations on a heck of a career so far. And you're just getting started. All over again to some extent, right? And let's try and keep you doing 3 things. So don't add a 4th or 5th, all right? So let's just keep it, real estate, marketing, and TV show. You won't agree to that, will you? She's not going to do it, everybody. She's going to go find a new thing to do.
No, I'm just going to recategorize the things that I do under those 3 things.
Right.
So travel, I'll put under real estate and outreach. And nonprofit, I'll put under CRM, client database, client research, client whatever.
Yeah, see, you're already thinking about your next new add-on. I won't say new, just adding on to what it is you're already doing.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if there's anything I can ever do to help, this has been a ton of fun, and I'd love to work with you and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll definitely get you back in the studio. CRM, everybody. Get with Jordan on the CRM.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the one for him. How's that? Let's get the CRM going.
Yeah.
And
get your sphere. It's really easy, guys.
Yeah.
Really easy. I'll do a webinar and say, all right, let's go through your phone. Here's 5 minutes to go through your phone and go through your contacts. Here's 5 minutes to go through your Facebook. Here's 5 minutes to go through your dating apps. Here's 5 minutes to go through your Instagram. Goodness. And we'll get you started with the basics of that sphere for that CRM. And that's awesome. I mean, everything else will be a sprinkle on the cupcake. And if you get that done, you're already doing way more than most of the agents that are out there.
So true.
What's the stat? When I probably look it up, but the stat of how many, the amount of agents that could dominate the 75% of the market.
I'm not sure.
I'll look it up for next time. Yeah. But basically, there's only a small percent of agents that really dominate a majority of the market.
Right. Right.
So there's plenty of room.
Plenty of room. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for coming into the T ROWE Sales Success Studio. By the way, if you didn't know, think, retain, obtain, win. It's what we do. We're going to give Jordan another big round of applause. That is it. T ROWE is done. See ya.